whistleblower is lying that the assassinations of Senator the assassination were released. The president's order also sought to declassify the remaining federal records related to the assassinations of Senator Robert F. Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So they're saying that this whistleblower is lying, that the officers weren't raided, and he's actually there to spin the story. Okay. Now, let me tell you how all of this ties together, because you may say, damn, that's the deep state. The deep state is at it again to try to protect those involved in JFK, keep the public from knowing about MK Ultra, which they claim ended, even though Hollywood admits that it hasn't. And what type of disruption they're doing by overriding what President Trump said. And you have to realize something. JFK, before his life was taken, he literally had already drafted out the plans to do what he called splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces, because they had gotten so strong and so powerful that nobody knew what they were really doing. As a matter of fact, the CIA is not supposed to use those tactics on Americans. Propaganda was illegal against American citizens. But then there was an amendment made to what's called the Mundt Act. And when the Mundt Act was amended, it made it perfectly legal for the federal government and the agencies and the media to put out fake stories. I'm talking about complete lies to the American public, as it's the truth. Obama, his administration made the amendment. And guess when it took place, when it came into effect? 2016, as Trump was coming into office. So isn't it bizarre that Obama would legalize propaganda against Americans? We will find out the CIA, should I say, members of the deep state, because the CIA is a big organization and everybody in it is not some nefarious rogue agent, but you do have some within it. Those agents allegedly had acted to go and take those boxes back, which Tulsi Gabbard says never happened. But this Fauci whistleblower said it did. Is he telling the truth, or is he sowing discontent? Now, I want you to check out this story on Barack Obama, who was an asset of the CIA. And then it'll help you understand why the deep state does what it does, why we see all this anti-American stuff taking place, why we saw Obama giving literally billions in cash to the Iranians and the Islamic Republic. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to play it in full screen for you. Watch and listen, and please pay attention.
This German steel trimmer blade replaces every knife.
And listen, and please pay attention. Check this out.
JFK said, I'm going to take the CIA and break them into 1,000 pieces and scatter them to the winds. These agencies have only gotten worse and worse. There's been no accountability. These operations that they have run against the American people are completely public. The stuff is in the public domain. It's known. Operation Northwoods that the CIA did against the American people. Operation Mockingbird, to use elements in the mainstream media.
I just want to stop it for a second in case you did not notice that. That was Anderson Cooper. Now, what most people don't realize is Anderson Cooper, while in college, worked for the CIA. You know what they say? One CIA, always CIA. So isn't it funny that Anderson Cooper, who did not go to school for journalism, had no journalism experience, all of a sudden became one of the biggest anchors in the world on CNN for years, that we all call Communist News Network. Now you understand when President Trump was saying it's fake news, he meant it. He knew about the amendment. He knew about the propaganda. He also knew that Anderson Cooper, who's really a Vanderbilt, he's a Vanderbilt who changed his name, worked for the CIA. Now you understand why he and Don Lemon and fools like that spread their propaganda. I'll let it continue.
MK Ultra. In 2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi intelligence service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country.
Not even a United States citizen, which is what Trump tried to tell everybody. He was not born in America. He was not. He was born in Kenya.
In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual whose name I don't like to say, who became president in 2008 of the United States.
I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
One of his code names was Renegade. His real name was Barry Soetoro, but he adopted a different name for his political career. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time. One of the things he did, of course, was he defunded our military. He brought down the resources that they got. But then he ordered our military in many, many instances and in various theaters to attack our allies and to defend and supply and help our enemies. That's exactly how he created ISIS. He would say publicly that the military were going to bomb our enemies, but then he would have the military actually bomb enemies of ISIS, our allies. He gave ISIS funding and equipment by basically ordering our military to take equipment into a certain theater and then abandon it. And the commanders would say, that's ridiculous. We'd just be handing that stuff over to ISIS. And the president's office would say, don't question orders, just follow your orders. And that was very common. That happened so many times that it demoralized our military. And basically, it took their heart away. It was an awful, awful thing.
Bush and Obama, well, there are pictures of Bush with his arm around 8-year-old Barack Obama because his stepdaddy, adopted daddy, Lolo Soetoro, had done a lifetime worth of business with the Bushes.
Wow.
Uncle George Herbert Walker, after whom George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 1 president, was named, founded Halliburton in 1946 in Oklahoma. And Lolo Soetoro had been international executive vice president for Standard Oil.
There was talk of him being a CIA asset.
Oh, well, yeah. See, he ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. On his own call, anyone could be assassinated. So when George Herbert Walker Bush became head of the CIA under the Ford administration, he just got with his old buddy in the oil business, Lolo Soetoro, and pulled off the hits. See, Barack's grandmother has been acknowledged as being the woman that operated the channels through which CIA money went to the Southwest Pacific. So she introduced her daughter, who had just had Barry, Barack, to Lolo Soetoro. And they got married, and Lolo Soetoro adopted Barack Obama. The name was changed to Barry Soetoro. Now, when he went to high school in Hawaii, I know about that high school. I almost sent my oldest son to it. I could afford it, but I didn't think he deserved it. 20 years ago, the tuition was $95,000 a year, not including room and board. When Obama went there, I've talked to 2 of his classmates. They independently state that the tuition, not including room and board, was $45,000. Now, Business Insider reports his income for 2017 at over $200 million net. That's after taxes, deductions, write-offs. For this last year, 2018, they reported it as $570+ million. And that's after all deductions, tax, right? Trump doesn't make that net.
Watch what happens when a 50-year-old man walks DHT naturally for just
all deductions, tax, right? Trump doesn't make that net.
Now, what do you think about that? You got a judge, and I've been telling people for years, because I did this research years ago. I knew his name was Barry Soetoro. I knew he went to a high school that was $45,000 a year back in the 70s and the 80s. I knew that you don't go to Harvard on government grants. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to Columbia on Pell grants. But yet he went to Harvard and to Columbia. I realized that when Trump said the birth certificate, if people want to know what made the left and the mainstream media attack President Trump, it wasn't him flipping Republican and running. It was the fact that he shined light on Obama's birth certificate. And guess what one of his first acts was when he took office? He sealed his records. I'm talking about high school transcripts, middle school transcripts, birth certificates, everything. Sealed it up where no one can ever see it. Why would you do that? And then they tried to shine light on Trump. Oh, show your tax return, do this, that, and the other. They didn't do that for Obama, who himself, in his own book, which we find out now was ghostwritten, which was Dreams of My Father. He didn't even write that. We find out that in the book, it tells of the story of him being born in Kenya. He wasn't born in America. He lived in Indonesia as a Muslim. That's what they practice over there, which is why he's so partial to the Muslims. But when Trump was saying it, they attacked him. No, it had validity, it had truth. And if we learn anything about Trump right now, we realize the man don't lie. Matter of fact, he's brutally honest. And people tend not to like that, especially the lamestream media and the demon rats. They just love lying to you with a smile on your face and then tearing your insides up afterwards. They believe that that's proper. You don't tell people the truth. You lie to them with class and destroy them is what the demon rats think. Where Trump is like, look, I'm going to tell it to you straight. Like it or dislike it, it is what it is. And we find out. So all of this crap we see where the agencies want to stop certain things coming out. Or you got rogue people in the agencies trying to block Trump. Understand whose fingerprints are all on it. The man who we allowed to sit at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for 8 years. The man who mysteriously became literally the messiah of the left. All of the Democrat presidents they had before. Why this one man who didn't accomplish anything as the president of the United States besides legalizing gay marriage, giving transgenders massive rights, giving our enemies billions in cash. Think about it. And giving us the ACA, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, which became unaffordable immediately when they instituted it. Everything he said was a lie, but he did it with a good-looking smile and charisma, smoking a Newport, shooting a jumper for the blacks, talked properly in a very etiquette, made the whites feel comfortable, tried to act like he was down with the Boricuas and the brothers with the Latinos. He is a chameleon. And you heard them say he was working with multiple agencies. And remember what his code name was? Renegade. That sounds so socialist and Marxist, and it makes sense. So I just wanted to bring you this to let